Hello everybody, I am Shepard and welcome back to Let's Play Zombie Shooter. So, we are continuing on exactly from where I left off, with about 1 minute in the difference. And we are mowing through some zombies in this shaft. This ventilation shaft. With my minigun. I love me some miniguns. And last time I rambled on about my beliefs of the horror genre, survival horror genre in gaming. And do I really want to ramble on again about it a little bit more? I suppose I will. People seem to forget what actually started the survival horror genre. I don't know why I'm talking about survival horror. I think it was just talking about the series and Resident Evil that kind of got me started on this. But people seem to believe that it was Resident Evil that started off the survival horror genre, which is actually incorrect. The game that actually started survival horror was in fact the first Alone in the Dark, which is the first ever survival horror game, and by Jesus did it scare the panties off of people. Like, I personally haven't played it. It's on my to-do list along with many other games. I think it was back in about 91, 90, no, it wouldn't have been 90. I'm not quite sure when it was exactly. I think it could have been around 94, 95, thereabouts. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was there that the survival horror started, and then Resident Evil came out. Then you had the Silent Hills after that. And, there was others which I hadn't played, like the Fatal Frames, Clock Tower series was another one I never played. I know when I was in school, I had a friend that was you could say he was almost obsessed with horror, whether it was video games or whether it was movies. The guy just he just breathed, eat, slept, and just breathed horror. And he just loved everything to do with the horror genre. Ever since he was quite young, I only knew him from secondary school, which is high school. It's high school in some countries. And he just, I don't know how much money he spent just getting special editions of games, like Resident Evil Director's Cut, and all these different director's cuts of videos of movies and everything else. He just went completely over the top to the point that not even I would go there. And when I was younger, I was pretty heavy on when it came to get sort of collections and things like that. With my Elder Scrolls being one of them, but he went to this extreme when it came to, he had all of them. He had like all the clock towers, all the Fatal Frames. I think he even got an American PlayStation 2, I think, at one stage, because he couldn't get some of them in Europe. And he just went completely over the top. But that was the way he was. He was just an absolute horror fanatic. I don't know what he does now. I haven't spoken to him in about 7 years. But it's kind of the way it goes. You do lose contact with most people when you leave school, even if they are your friends. You everybody kind of goes their separate ways. You lose contact with everybody. Because everybody's now leading their own lives as opposed to leading a very similar life. Everyone's different once you leave school. Like for the first while, you might stay all buddies and everything, but then after that, it kind of, as the years go on, kind of just go your opposite ways. But and that was back when horror was genuinely horror. Like even back then, there was some decent horror movies still being made as well. But I think what's really happened is that originality has become very hard to do now. People are finding it harder and harder to be original when it comes to both games and movies, and because of that, the horror genre has kind of gone through a very bland stage, and this bland stage of horror has just kind of blended into everyday life. That the fact that it's kind of been programmed into us that this is what horror is, whilst when you go back and watch some of the older stuff and play some of the older horror games, you begin to realise, you sort of remember, no, this is not the way horror is supposed to be, this is not the way that it's supposed to be portrayed. And you sort of begin to realise that it's almost fed to us that this is how horror is supposed to be, and things like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of turning into, like, horror games are turning into action games. I mean, look at Dead Space 1. Dead Space 1 was, it was a decent horror. It was done reasonably well. And then you played Dead Space 2 and it just became, it was a lot more action orientated, and I didn't, I kind of, it lost the feel of what horror the original had, even though it wasn't an awful lot. Probably the most horrific part of Dead Space 1 was that big fucker that you couldn't kill. He just kept regenerating. Every time you took him down, and his limbs would all regenerate and everything, and he'd still stay coming at you, and you had to kind of get away from him a couple of times throughout the game. Like, he was a scary motherfucker. Just because of the sheer point that you couldn't kill him. But Dead Space 2 was just, it was more about the action and gore. And then Dead Space 3, when they brought in the co-op shit, that just completely and utterly finished the series for me. I didn't have any interest in 3 at all. I sort of put up my hand and bought my hand and just said, done! And I didn't even buy it, and I have no intentions in the near future to buy it. The only way that I might get Dead Space 3 is if it was in a sale, or if I was to do a let's play of the entire Dead Space series, which is quite possible at some stage. But yeah, it just turned into an action fucking. Just turned into another shooter, like Resident Evil did. But it's just kind of the way that it's gone, and there's nothing that you can really do about it, unfortunately. I just hope that there's a couple of indies out there that understand what this sort of horror genre is about, and they do start bringing out some decent, proper horror games, really. Because the indies do have the potential to do that, just like they have the potential to bring back a lot of old school gaming. I mean, the likes of Malevolence and Sword of Acheronix has kind of brought back the old style of RPGs. I think the modern community of the Half-Life 1 engine, I can't think of the name of them. I think they're called Team Cynic or something like that. They made Cry of Fear, and they made a couple of others as well. I think there was another one that they made called Afraid of Monsters, and they were pretty good games. You know, they had their scary moments, and their sort of, it was almost like a blend of Silent Hill and first-person shooters, and it was done really, really well. It really, really messes with your head, and you know, it kind of brought back the original sort of sense of horror. When I was playing through, I never finished Cry of Fear. I just played, you know, a little bit into it. I played maybe, I don't know, maybe a quarter of the way into it, thereabouts, I reckon. And it was brilliantly done. You know, and then there's, you know, there's indies that are just bringing back the old sense of gaming, and they're doing it with such grace. I mean, look how popular, what's his name? Paul Fish? Or something like that is his name, I'm not sure. There was a whole controversy about him in the gaming industry, and he said he was done after Fez. Because he got some shit off of somebody or something or other, but despite the fact that he's known for being quite irrational, but you know, he kind of, like, I've never played Fez. There's just too many bloody games for me to play, you know, but he kind of redefined, he kind of brought back the arcade style platforming kind of thing, I think it was. And you know, it was hugely popular. It was massive, you know. I mean, fuck, my first life gone. Oh well. You know, it kind of brought that back, and then, you know, then you have the likes of Minecraft, which just sets a trend of its own, which kind of set off the whole pixelated scene in video gaming, where every indie thinks that, oh, if I make my game pixelated, everybody's gonna buy it because Minecraft's like that. You know, there's kind of an in-joke with the creator, Alex Norton of Malevolence, where he says, if I made Malevolence look like Minecraft, I'd be a millionaire right now. It's kind of just an in-joke, an inside joke that he has. You know, in a way, I'd probably agree with him. I mean, look at fucking Terraria. Terraria is technically now I've played Terraria, so you know, I do know what I'm saying, and I know how to sort of talk about it. Like, Terraria is essentially Minecraft, except it's 2D. No, that's the only difference between, you know, between Terraria and Minecraft. It's just that one's 2D and the other one's 3D. You know, and then there's another one that's called Darkout, which is essentially Terraria but without the pixels. And yeah, that's just the way that it goes. Right, mission 6, guard post. You're on the laboratory guard post now. You need to unblock the doors to pass. Turn on the generator, activate the power supply. Okay. Right, let's do this. I know that I'm probably going into the 20-minute mark, but sure, I'm going to do another level anyway. I'm going to have this campaign done in 5 episodes. That was kind of my goal, to get 5. You know, there's 10 levels in this, like there is in the original Alien shooter. So I'm going to do 2 levels each episode, even if it does take, you know, over 20 minutes sometimes. This level's not too big anyway, if I remember correctly. But, you know, I just hope that we get some indies out there, some more indies, that kind of bring back the old ways of horror to when they were actual horror, is basically what I'm trying to get at, I suppose you could say. Because without a doubt, horror has has kind of lost its way over the years because of, you know, the AAA industry and between the AAA industry and gaming and movies, horror has kind of lost its way altogether, to the point that it's I don't know. I kind of, again, it goes down to the point that people seem to like the same things over and over again, and the same goes for horror. They just like the same bullshit over and over again, you know, like, to the point that it's predictable. Like, you know, if you're being fed the same kind of scares over and over again, it becomes predictable as to when something's going to jump out or when something's going to happen. Yet people seem to love it, and I don't understand why. It just doesn't compute with my mind as to why that would be the case. You know, if something keeps happening to you over and over again that scares you, why would you be scared after about the 100th time it happens? That does not make sense to me. In order for me to be scared, new things have to happen. Or you can go with probably the best form of horror, which is the horror, the sheer and utter sense of something being there, yet you can't see it, but you know it's there. Like, you know, that is horror in its purest form. You know, it's just the way that it works. I don't know. You know, all I can hope is that, you know, in honesty, you know, I haven't played Outlast. I've seen a couple of gameplay videos of it. I haven't watched like whole Let's Play series of it because I do want to play it myself. I want to know what happens, or, you know, what scares are in there. And it looks pretty decent, actually. They've done fantastic with the effects and the lighting, and, you know, I think that they've done a pretty good job, and I am waiting until I get a better computer to play it, because I really want to ramp it up. I want to have the effect. I don't want to have to lower the effects. If anything, I want to play Outlast in the highest graphical settings, and that just to get the sheer and utter full, you know, experience out of it. So I am waiting for a new computer before playing it. So you know, but from what I have seen of it, it looks brilliant. It looks really, really good. I think they've done a really good job on depicting the setting, and the setting works really, really well. And, you know, from what I've seen, they've done a really, really good job. I just hope that it doesn't get overused, in the sense that now everybody's going to start releasing fucking, you know, games in mental asylums and things like that, just to try and make the next Outlast, because it just ruins gaming experiences when people try to do that. It ruins what makes Outlast a very unique game in its ways, from what I've seen of it anyway. Kind of like Amnesia, where, though with that said, I haven't seen much in the way of Amnesia clones. I've seen games that have kind of took the route of Amnesia, where you can't fight back. You know, it's kind of a very common thing now, that in any sort of horror game where, you know, you can't fight back anymore, which, you know, it's okay. I don't mind that too much, but, you know, I don't want that to sort of take over the horror industry. I like to be able to fight back sometimes. You know what I mean? It's that kind of, you know, there's something with that style of game that you wouldn't get with something that you're out to shoot back with or kill things with. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's that sense of reserving ammunition and the adrenaline that it gives when your reserves are running low, your ammo reserves are running low. You know, it gives off a certain rush of adrenaline and that which you can't get from a game that you don't have guns in and you have to run away from everything. It's just a certain sort of rush that is missing, that sets off a certain chemical within your mind and your body that's just not there like it would be if you had ammo and you had to reserve your ammo, and you know, when ammo gets low you're starting to really shit your pants, you know what I mean? But you know, I don't know how I got onto this topic, I'll be honest with you. I ramble, you know what I mean? You know, zombie shooter's not really much for me to talk about, you know, I said practically everything. I mean, I've done the Let's Plays of Alien Shooter and that, you know, and I've literally said that what there is to say about this because the game itself pretty much explains itself, you know, so I didn't really need to go into any detail and I kind of just rambled on them. But, you know, anyone who's been watching me from the beginning you know I tend to ramble, and which is not always a bad thing. I'd rather ramble than be in silence. That'd just be boring. What would be the point of me commentating? But you know, it's just kind of the way that gaming and well, general media and entertainment has gone. You know what I mean? It's not the same as it used to be. The horror side of things especially is just... Oh yeah, that's a feature that only came into this one and I fucking hate it. I don't like it at all. It's just annoying. It lowers your field of vision. I suppose it's kind of somewhat fitting, but I don't know, it doesn't sit too well with me, to be honest. But you know, I just hope that someone kind of steps up and goes back to the roots of what made horror. You know, I mean, I'd like to make a horror game myself, but you know, making a horror game as your first game is not a good idea because, you know, to make a decent horror you need really fucking good, you know, people that can make sound effects. You need really good composers for music and sound effects. You need, you know, the thing about horror is that everything has to be perfect. You know, the lighting has to be perfect. The shading and lighting has to be absolutely perfect to get that atmosphere. Because if you don't get the atmosphere right with a horror game, it doesn't work. The lighting has to be exact. It has to be perfect. It has to work. Along with that, you have to have sound effects and things like that as well. And they have to be done properly. They have to fit in with what it is you're trying to portray. And if you don't have the team, or even if yourself you don't have the skills and you don't have the team or the finances, it's very hard to make an actual very good horror game. It is genuinely very, very hard. You know, like I'm not trying to discourage anyone from making a horror game. It's just my own opinion. It's just something that you really do need. You know, a genuinely good team, and you need sound effects and plenty of them. You know, it's kind of like the how should I put it? It's kind of like, you know, if you think about the zombie genre, like everybody's kind of sick of zombie games by now. You know, there used to be a thrill about zombie games, but you know, it's kind of dying down now because the audience are getting so pissed off with mediocre zombie games that nobody really gives a shit anymore. You know, because again, like horror, zombies have been kind of changed And this game is kind of guilty of that in a sense, but it does it with sort of grace as well. It's not trying to be a horror game. This is not trying to scare you. This game is just, over the top shooting fun. You know what I mean? This game is not trying to, scare the bejesus out of you. It's just trying to be Alien Shooter, which is just a lot of fun and blood, guts, and gore. So at the same time, despite it being guilty, it's not guilty at the same time. If you get what I'm trying to say, But the zombie genre has changed, and I don't like how it's changed. Like what happened to the days where a zombie was a zombie? That's it. There was nothing else to really say about it. They're just slow, shambling monsters that, that resemble humans and keep most of their humanity, most primitive states of humanity, such as walking, eating, things like that, and that's what a zombie is. And they're slow, they're shamblers. That's the zombie nickname, shamblers, or walkers, as they've kind of become more known as because of the Walking Dead series. I've kind of always associated them with being shamblers, because they kind of just shamble around the place. Oh no. Shit, oh, I got out, that's okay. Yeah, this is something you gotta be careful of in this game. You can very easily get stuck on things, and you can't actually move off of them. And you could end up getting stuck. That's very irritating. Like this whole fast zombie thing, and that, no, it doesn't sit well with me at all. That kind of all started with Dawn of the Dead, the remake of Dawn of the Dead. That's where the fast zombie thing kind of started coming into it, and I wouldn't have minded if they did it, as a once-off or something that didn't get overused. But now it's in every fucking zombie game you find. And it's very irritating. I mean, really irritating. Because it takes the horror out of what zombies really are. Like, zombies are very slow, shambling creatures that basically eat humans, and anyone that gets bitten by them has a chance of being infected or whatever. And it's the fact that they're slow, and because they're slow, it brings a sort of tension with them, and they're also in large numbers, like up to, like, if you saw a couple of hundred fucking really, like a couple of hundred walkers coming towards you, and they're slowly coming over the hill and coming within your view distance, and you fucking know they're coming. They're getting to you, slowly but surely, but they're fucking coming, and you know if they get near you, you're in shit. And it has that build-up of just tension and this sense of insecurity, and that a small squadron or a small group of fast zombies would have on you, because they're just on you that quickly. They're just on top of you that quickly and fucking ripping your face off, that you don't have time to get that tension. You don't have time to feel that suspense and that tension and the whole, oh my god, they're fucking coming, because before you even get a chance to think that, they're right on top of you. And then you get the likes of, Left 4 Dead, what were it, the bloaters or boomers, and the hunters and that. And, it was okay as a kind of a once-off, but then every fucking game started doing it. and you had like, you know, Dead Island did it, you know. For the first while in Dead Island I really liked it because all I was coming across was the slow shamblers, and then after that you started getting the, you know, the bloaters, the floaters, the butchers, and the fast zombies as well, and then the rams as well, and it just, yeah, it just lost its, you know, I still enjoy Dead Island, but if it was just all shamblers I would have really liked it. And one of these days I am content with making a proper zombie game that has none of this fast zombie bullshit. You know, I want to make a zombie game that just has slow zombies and it's done properly to the point that it is a horror. But you know, I want to get, you know, a bit of experience under me before I go doing something like that. But you know, I know exactly how I'd go about it. I genuinely know how I'd go about it, and you know, I'd really like to do that one day. But that is in the future and is another story for another day, because I'm going to be leaving it here now, because we've done 2 levels. I'll read out this one. Mission 7, Repair Shop. You are in the laboratory repair shop. The exit is blocked. You need to find the control room and unlock the doors. Dynamite sticks are most probably located somewhere in the storage rooms. Right. Okay. So I am going to leave it here for this part, guys. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the videos. And as always, thank you and have fun.